It is Tuesday, June 10th, and I am reacting to my 2025 senior talk. Let's begin.
Hello, everybody. I would just like to start by saying, David, I don't know how you football is the impact of the just standing up here. So currently, it's Stanley Cup playoff time right now.
That felt really awkward, and that was a last-minute play. That was put in there last minute.
The physical peak of the season, with bone-crushing hits across the ice. Now, when my dad and I sit down to watch a playoff game, and we see one of these collisions, we both have two very opposite reactions. While I'm sat there, cheering on in my head, my father sitting across from me is yelling at the TV. They sure move things from the game. All it does is it hurts players and it takes skill away from the game. So after I hear this horrible take, I look over it and I say, they can't do that. Hitting's a key part of the game. It brings in views, and in itself, it is a skill to the game. So we go back and forth a little bit, but ultimately, neither of our opinions budge.
I think I could have slowed down a little bit.
So what I just explained is something I like to call
I feel like I'm just rushing all these words out.
Serving its traditional purpose, which is to persuade us, these arguments just spread anger and animosity. So in order for us to have a pointless argument,
I kind of forgot my line there.
First, we have to have two different parties with different opinions on a topic.
I said first twice, so thanks.
Second, both parties have to have some sort of emotional investment. And lastly, you need a trigger.
Oh my god, the clicker stopped working.
From a persuasive argument to a pointless argument?
That was awkward.
Well, in order to understand, it's first important to know the definition of the word argue. According to the Oxford Dictionary, argue is a verb, which means to exchange or express diverging or opposite views, typically in a heated or angry way.
Okay, got the definition right.
Is our first issue, our anger. When we get angry, we argue angry. Our anger clouds our judgment, and we begin to lose objectivity. So a prime example of this is the 2024 presidential debate between Harris and Trump. During the debate, both candidates coldly questioned each other's competency, credibility.
Okay, I slow down a bit more, so this is a bit better.
Objectivity of the debate. But to people who identify with these political parties, it wasn't just an attack on the candidate that they're hearing, but it was also an attack on their personal beliefs. Now, this personal attack is the trigger that makes the argument pointless. When we attack someone's beliefs, we make them defensive, and this triggers the backfire effect. And rather than persuading them, our attack backfires, and we further reinforce their beliefs in their mind. But where does this backfire effect stem from? Psychologists have an answer: the social identity theory. This theory is used to explain the biased behavior we exhibit towards matters that concern our identity.
Going good.
According to psychologists Henry Teifel and John Turner,
I was trying to remember how to pronounce his name. It sounds like mine. Teifel. That's the AJ with the Sulai. AJ. Teifel, Sulai.
The Democratic Party gave the Republican Party only a 9% approval rating, while the Republican Party returned the favor with an even lower 7% approval rating. But the social identity theory can also explain
premature slide clip.
Personal attacking in the first place. The same way we get caught.
I forgot a line there. I was supposed to say, where is it back here? Before I started talking about the polls, I was supposed to say, after I finish this line here.
This theory is used to explain the biased behavior
Yeah.
towards matters that concern our identity, using in and out groups. According to psychologists Henry Teifel and John Turner, this is due to our emotional investment that we have in our in-groups. That is exactly...
I was supposed to say, that is why when we feel attacked, we backfire, and we try to protect ourselves, almost like flinch from a punch. I was supposed to have a line like that, but I forgot it. That didn't affect it too much, but okay.
What transpired? According to NBC polling taken after the debate, the Democratic Party gave the Republican Party only a 9% approval rating, while the Republican Party attacking in the first place. The same way we get called the defensive is how we get called the offensive. Due to our natural in-group bias, we feel that sometimes we're superior to the out-group. In a 2013 study, researchers split participants up into two groups, an in and out group. Then, participants from each group were then selected to click a button as fast as they could. They were then recorded and the video was modified to make it appear as if both participants clicked the button at the same time. Now, when both groups are shown this video, rather than acknowledging both the buttons were clicked simultaneously, both groups argued that their guy clicked the button first. But we don't need some research study to see the bias, in-group bias.
That was
You can see
awkward.
it on YouTube. When
I
I was
forgot
doing
my line.
research, I knew I wanted to add a bit where I talk about why people argue about the existence of God. So while I was looking for videos of why people argue about the existence of God, I instead found videos of people arguing about the existence of God. So the non-believers, let's say they're the in-group in this case. They made videos with titles and thumbnails such as Logic versus Religion, demonstrating their in-group bias. Now if we move to the comment section, we see mainly members of the in-group supporting this video. But then we also see members of the out-group whose identities were just attacked, and now they're in the comments defending their beliefs. But in-group bias doesn't always have to be so intentional. Sometimes it may even happen subconsciously. Take my earlier example with my father and I. When we're watching the game, and my dad says,
This is a horrible picture.
he says they should remove him from the game. He's not trying to attack me. He's just saying his opinion with some subconscious bias. And then when I hear this, I hear his horrible take, I get upset because my identity as a hockey player feels attacked. So I fire back. So this begs the question. If it's so easy...
I feel like I have a lot of so's and now's in there.
Well, luckily for you guys, I've taken the liberty and created a few steps to help us
It just
out.
doesn't make it flow as well as if it
First, we want to stay objective.
was better
No personal attack.
rehearsed.
We want to avoid using any word that might attack someone's intelligence or insult their in-group belief. If we do this, we minimize the chance of triggering their backfire effect.
Here, I remembered when you told me to slow down when I was trying to persuade them. So I was really trying to go word by word with this, which I think I did well.
Accept criticism to your opinions. According to studies done by UC Berkeley, researchers found that
I've definitely slowed down from
people
the
who
start.
identify themselves as humble were far more positively receptive to negative
Still
feedback
doing
and
the
disagreement. So being
counting
intellectually
hands.
humble will help us stay objective in this disagreement. And lastly, we need to talk to people with different views of the world than us. If we only talk to like-minded thinkers, this will feed something known as our confirmation bias. This is when we actively look for information that supports our idea and ignore information that may refute it. So if we talk to people with diverse worldviews, this will help us look at the world more objectively. Using our beliefs to shape our identity is very important in how we became the people that we are today. But it's also important to be able to grow as people, and changing is one of the main ways that we grow. Arguing is one of the main ways that we change as people, and that is why, my friends, it is so very important to debate and not dominate. Thank you.
Okay, let's look at the rubric. I think that was a great talk. Okay. Preparation. Demonstrates good research and clear point. Demonstrates some consideration of audience and purpose. Shows evidence of rehearsing. Okay, so I'm kind of torn between this because I feel like my tips or my three solutions to the problem to help you avoid a pointless argument, I feel like those were very good, and anyone could apply that at any time because arguing is a very general thing that lots of people, literally everyone does. So I think those 3 points were good. So I think that would meet the exceeds expectations part. There was definitely some mess ups. I counted maybe 6 mess ups. So I think that could go and meet expectations, and I think I could have done more research to... I'm not saying my research is inadequate, but I definitely feel like it could have been better. But it could always be better, so I would also put that in meets expectations. So for preparation, I would give myself meets expectations, except for the second point. I would give myself exceeds expectations. So if we're gonna do that, it's 24. 24. Okay, content. Chosen topic is appropriate, relevant, and useful. Chosen topic is compelling, relevant, and very useful. Yeah, I'd give myself a 4 for that. I get that, or not 4. Exceeds expectations for that. Shows clear knowledge and understanding material. Shows superior knowledge / understanding material. Information is rich, accurate, and cited. Distinction made between fact and opinion. Clear distinction made between fact and opinion. Well, I didn't really input any of my own opinions in there besides my own hockey example. So, like, if we go example by example, what the hell is this? If we go example by example, what was first? My hockey take. So that was my opinion. And the next was, God damn it, I just watched it. Next, the definition. So that's a fact. Then it was, no, it was a definition. And then the anger thing. That's kind of an opinion because I can't read into someone's mind to see how they act when they're angry. So that's an opinion. The presidential debate, I used poll data to support that, and they definitely did question each other's competency, credibility, and past history, so that's a fact. Then it was the social identity theory. That's a scientific psychology phenomenon. That's a fact. Then we had the comments, the videos. That's definitely there. That's real. And then we had back to my example. So, and we had the research experiment with the buttons. So I'd give myself a 3 for that one. I'd give myself a 3 for that one. For distinction made between fact and opinion, because I didn't like blatantly say it. I feel like you could tell, but it wasn't clear, if you know what I mean. Information is accurate and cited. Information is rich. I had a lot of examples. I had 4, I think. Yeah, 4. So I think that's more than 3. So I'd give myself exceeds expectations for that. So same thing. I had 4 examples. So I'd only give myself meets expectations for the last bullet point. So I'd give myself exceeds expectations for the others. So I'd give myself like a 23 there. So what's that? 23 and 23. 23 and 25. Organization. Organization is obvious and effective. Shows clear organization. I'd give myself a meets expectations for that. I just think I could have done I think the organization could have been better, but it was still pretty good. I boxed everything into their own group and talked about it and then moved on to the next topic, but I think it could have been better still. Content flow is clear and assists in understanding of idea. Content flows smoothly, enriching understanding. Yeah, I said it when I was listening. I've had a lot of so, now, and then, and stay with me nows. So I think that could have been more smoothly integrated in. So I'd give myself a meets expectations. Contains a clear intro and conclusion with distinct transitions. Contains strong intro. Yeah, I wasn't very creative, but they were distinct, so I'd give myself a 15. Delivery. Clear voice, good expression, appropriate variety in tone and tempo and volume, appropriate pacing, enunciates and pronunciates words clearly, strong and clear voice, superior expression, excellent pacing, demonstrates professional level of enunciation and pronunciation of words. Yeah, I'd give myself a 3. It meets expectations. At first I was talking too fast. I wasn't as loud as I thought I would be when watching that video. I choked up on a few words, so I wouldn't give myself perfect. I'd give myself an 11. 11 out of 15 there. Delivery, nonverbal, superior eye contact. I mean, besides my hands doing this, I was trying to look at everyone, and you could see that in the video. I'd only like peek at the computer occasionally. I was leaning more towards my right side when I was talking, but I was still looking at the left side. I look confident. I give myself a 10. And presentation, completed within assigned time, materials, smooth logically, materials, greatly enhanced presentation, slightly over under required time. Okay, well, I'd give myself a good score. I'd give myself a exceeds expectations. I feel like my slides were not blurry. I made sure of that, and I tried not to choose any stock images that had the watermark on them. And besides like my one slip up with that one slide with the shield, they flowed smoothly. They assisted in what I was saying, and they weren't too complicated where it would distract them. The only like real complicated ones were like the comments where you maybe like want to read them, but I was telling you what they were saying, so well, I wasn't saying exactly what they were saying, but I said what they were talking about. Yeah, I give myself 25. So if we add that, 48, 15, 63, plus 11, 74, 84, plus 25, what's that, 109. I'd give myself a 109 out of 125. Thank you.